Welcome to the Recover Yourself podcast, where we're adding the conversation of recovering to the conversation of recovering from. I'm your host, Martin John, and we're doing a TaoCast with Grace, Sangat, Gian of Grace in Space. Grace and I met at Satnam Yoga Chicago's First Friday Community Healing Circle event. I have a ton of respect for her and her practice, and super excited that she's joining me for this TaoCast, in which she's offering quite a bit, even though I woke her up. So are you taking a nap?
Yeah, I never take naps, and I because I sometimes end up being up really late unintentionally, and sometimes I end up with like just 3 hours of sleep. It's very aligned. Like I was looking at the astrology for this week or for this month, and it was saying at the beginning of the month that it's going to feel like the pressure's on, and then you have to just like really like choose to like take care and stuff. And I was like,
and you take a nap. A nap is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I definitely was not trained in naps.
That's not your primary mode of getting around.
No, I'm usually a bit too vata for that.
Okay, so let's see what number you come up with today. What's coming to you?
53.
53. The great way is easy, yet people prefer side paths. Be aware when things are out of balance. Stay centered within the Tao. When rich speculators prosper while farmers lose their land, when government officials spend money on weapons instead of cures, when the upper class is extravagant and irresponsible while the poor have nowhere to turn, all this is robbery and chaos. It is not keeping with the Tao.
The first part felt so personal, and the second part got so political.
So what felt personal for you?
What you're talking about with naps.
Right.
You know, being aware of where things are at, knowing things are out of balance, so that you can recenter yourself, so you can bring things back into balance.
Yeah, I thought this was very, very poignant. Just that sort of balance of being in a space where what you need now is exactly what you need now.
Absolutely. Which also, kind of touches on the second part. When you start to have people who are collecting and controlling resources for later times or to distribute by their own will. Also like addicted to like an addiction to having excess, like an addiction to an outcome of like, I like having extra. I like that feeling. And so I want to create a circumstance such that I can make sure that I keep having that experience.
I always like to look at this as like the internal, like where is the rich speculator in my life taking the land from the farmer? Where is the government official spending money on weapons? And that one kind of makes sense, right? Because like if we take it all and we look at what is spending money? Okay, like spending resources. Okay, so we're going to spend resources on weapons instead of cures.
That particular is very poignant to me because I teach yoga and meditation, and I personally like to really get into the lifestyle aspects of the practice, because I feel like the more that we learn how to enter our own state of contentment, the less that we will, for one, we increase our tolerance of other people and of ourselves, and that can naturally decrease the amount of things that we feel like we need to be okay. It's not necessarily weapons and cures, but a lot of the I think a lot of the addictions that we have end up just being weapons on our planet when it comes to even just honestly like fashion industry and the amount of production and waste that we create. That is such a massive weapon on our planet. And what is a cure? A cure is not needing to have microfibers that last forever. Being able to allow your clothes to disintegrate at some point. Like, it's okay. Like, let it go. It can be cotton. It's fine. So for me, that's kind of how I hear it. And I feel like it's so incredibly important.
That's beautiful. This because it's easy for us to get caught up in the idea of like upper class politics, rich speculators, and those images. But But all of this is about us, right? All of this is about where we are and what we're doing. The one that resonated with you was government officials spend money on weapons instead of cures. And for me, that line is like, you're spending money on like worry. You're spending money on hate. You're spending your resources on things that aren't going to cure you of these things. They're not going to cure your heart of not being able to love that thing, right? Like it is going to increase the drama in your mind and in your heart that's already there. Like, right? And it's there. It's easy because we in our culture we quickly judge, and judgment is a weapon. If we internalize all of these aspects within ourselves, there is an upper class within us, right? Like, and then there is the poor within us.
Yeah, I suppose when I hear that, and if I were to internalize it, like what comes up is like me trying to, most of what I'm spending my time mostly. I spend my time more than I spend money probably right now. I feel like I have this like big idea of how much I can do in a day, and like spending my time, spending it trying to do all these things, and then being like, wow, how am I so tired? How could I possibly have that nurturing time if I'm spending all my time doing things?
Right. And that is, like
Transport.
productivity, that idea of like, oh, in order to have value, you have to be productive. And we're both healers, right? And so like we're in a wonderful position of being healers that can take that time and look back and say, we need balance. The whole text goes from the individual to the many, and then back to the individual, which is why I take that many and I revert it to an individual like within us, because we hold all things, right? We have all of these we are capable of greed and hate and love and sharing and all of that. We're capable of that. How do all of those aspects which deserve light come out through us? And that is how I read this, and that's how, like, it's like, of course, like, if no one's going to say, rich speculator taking a farmer's land, that's fine. Like, we're going to be like, oh, no, of course, that's a bad thing. But when we can
So these are all
internalize it.
just big examples that just show, that also are just indicators of the small scale imbalances that are happening. So it's like, when you start to see this issue in your crops, that something's probably going on in your soil, or in the seed, or in the water, or this kind of thing. Those are just like big scale examples that make us have to look at how we're doing things as well.
Right.
That's how, I love looking at for my own life, and I'm noticing like, oh, I don't have the ability to handle this, or oh wow, this is so easy. What is going on, and noticing what my life flow is like, and if that balance is there, which goes back to the maps.
Right, because where are your crops, right? Your crops is the product that you're giving you, right?
Or even if I have such great crops, but did I give all my time to the crops? Like, do I have energy left to enjoy them?
Or to continue producing them.
Yeah, is there an overproduction element that's not sustainable?
Right.
And maybe it sounds good because it was so prosperous, but was it done in a sustainable way?
Oh, such a good, thank you so much for joining me with this. That's like, and great number.
Yeah, I had a feeling for it. Yeah. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Grace is a wonderful healer working with Crystal Reiki and Akashic Records. You can get remote or in-person sessions with her by visiting her website. Links to her site as well as Satnam Yoga Chicago are in the description of this podcast or video. Thanks again for listening to the Recover Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Martin John, and next week we're back to talking with people with long-term recovery, and we're going to be speaking with the founder of Recovery Happy Hour, Trisha Lewis.